Welcome to Elevated. I'm your host, Susan. In today's episode, I'm sitting with Jackie, and she's going to share about her journey of breaking free and finding purpose. Together, we're going to share her story of letting go, healing, and finding a new sense of purpose. You don't want to miss this honest and powerful conversation. Jackie, you are very welcome.
Thank you so much.
How have you been?
I have been amazing. I'm very happy to be here.
Honestly, on my side, it's an honor to have you today.
Me too. Me too.
But for someone who doesn't know you, who is Jackie?
Yes, thank you so much for asking. My name is Kobusinge Jackline. I am a singer, songwriter, recording artist. I'm an actor. I'm a makeup artist, and a community psychologist, but also a founder of Harmony of Minds, a platform that provides mental health information. Yes, please.
Well, I actually didn't know all that. Oh my goodness, you do all that. I wonder how you balance it.
I try to balance because not everything comes at the same time. So like every season comes with its own demands, and that's how I find myself able to balance all of that.
A lady of all seasons.
Yes.
Well, looking at our theme for today,
Yes.
breaking free and finding purpose.
Yes.
I know everybody has a story.
Yes.
What's your story? Who is Jackie from campus?
Seriously, my campus time is a little bit of a blur.
For you?
Yes, it's a little bit of a blur, but I think what I can say is that it was an amazing experience, like any other person that has gotten a chance to grow. And I also grew through that time, the years that I was in campus. But again, at the same time, it was not, because it was a blur, it was a time that was so traumatic for me. Every time when someone asks about, oh, how was campus, talk about campus, I just remember trauma, because of the experiences that I went through during a very abusive and toxic relationship that led to so many things that probably we could talk about.
I'm really sorry to hear that, because very many girls out there, when it comes to campus,
Yes.
probably it was their best life to live.
Yes.
So when you talk about trauma and this toxic relationship, how does this relationship start? Where do you meet this person anyway?
This person, actually, we met way back in secondary school. So they were like a person that was teaching dance and everything. So someone gave this individual my contact, and then we used to just kind of like talk. But I think things started hitting off when I was at campus, because of the communication and everything. And so that's where my life with this individual began. And that when we talk about the trauma and the toxicity, there was so much that happened during that time. Some of it comes back to me. Some of it I'm still like trying to pull together that information in my mind. But when we talk about trauma, there was a lot of manipulation, verbal abuse, some form of physical abuse, and so many things of that kind.
So you were at campus?
Yes.
Which year was this, if you don't mind?
That was, I was in campus, I think 2012. That's when I was at campus.
2012.
Yes, I know someone is going to be saying my age, but
2012.
Yes.
And the kind of things that you talked about, the manipulation,
Yes.
and whatever this person took you through, this sounds like a narcissist.
Yes. Actually, when you talk about a narcissist, in the beginning, I did not know. I did not know about it being a toxic relationship. I didn't know about the person being a narcissist, because all of this information, I got to know it after even we were married 7 years in. And knowing this information was very revolutionary for me, and being on my journey as someone, as an individual, and my profession and my vision. It's something that I got to know not even 7 years, because the relationship was 3 years, then the marriage was 7 years, so it's like 10 years later, it's when I got to know about these terms, because I grew up in a home environment whereby there was not this kind of lifestyle, the toxicity, the manipulation, and me being in a toxic relationship, I knew something was not normal, because I tried to leave. Because sometimes you talk to someone and they're like, why didn't you leave? Why didn't you leave? No, I tried to leave this toxic environment, and this toxic relationship. But every time I wanted to leave, there was some sort of, like, right now I call it a punishment that was attached to me wanting to leave. For example, I remember there was a certain time I was like, you know what, I cannot handle this relationship, because it was too much for me. I could not concentrate at school, because this person wanted all my attention all the time. They could sometimes come abruptly in my lecture room. They could sometimes come abruptly in my discussions that we used to have. And sometimes he would privately threaten my friends, or I've seen the boys you've been talking to, I will do something to them, or something of that kind. And to me, it left me in fear. I was constantly in fear of what this person could do to these people, what this person could do to me if I leave. Yeah, so I was still talking about, like, the other example whereby this person was, I was on the 5th floor of our hostel, and then he was like, he's going to jump out of the hostel and throw himself. So he wanted to commit suicide, because I was saying I had to call it quits. So that alone, that experience alone, it kept on happening every time I tried to break up with this person in my first year. And then in the 3rd year, I'd just given up, really. I'd just given up in breaking up.
Jackie, that is sad. But what pushes you to get married to this man?
Like when I talked about manipulation, and also now that I've been on my healing journey, I've got to realize that I also played a part into my situation, because I had people pleasing tendencies. I had a problem with saying no to so many things, and if someone felt uncomfortable with my no, then I would give into their plea or their forceful, whatever they wanted me to do. So the reason as to why I think right now, looking back, it's because I was feeling pity for this person, because they used to tell me, no one has ever loved me. For example, if you break up with them, they'll be like, okay, you go, like everyone else has left me, so you remain. Because you do not want to join that you don't want to hurt them. You don't want to join the people that have hurt him or left him. Say, oh, my dad left me, so you can also join them. So statements like that, I think they kept me into that abuse, even fully well knowing I was supposed to leave. Yes.
Very many girls or very many ladies would go or even stick in a marriage because of children.
Yes.
Did you get married? Okay, did you get pregnant when you had campus for you to get into this marriage? Or did you get pregnant in the marriage?
I actually got pregnant before we were married. I was at campus. And I would not say I got married because of the children.
Okay.
But it's like I was punishing myself, because I was like, I put myself in this situation, and therefore, because I knew what I was going in, I knew the kind of person that I was going to be with, and it's like, let me really go and punish myself in this marriage, because it's not that my parents were forcing me or anything. Because even my mom asked me, are you sure you want to go in this marriage? And I was like, yeah, don't worry, I want to go. As I played it cool and everything, but I don't know, in my hearts of hearts,
you knew it wasn't right.
I knew it wasn't right. I knew I was making a terrible mistake. But at the same time, I had, you're guilty, you have shame, you've gotten pregnant out of wedlock, you're supposed to be studying, now you're telling your dad you're pregnant, and so you're like, let me go there to cover my shame, to cover my guilt, and to also punish yourself for allowing yourself to fall victim of such a circumstance. Yes.
What you did is what most Christian girls do.
Yeah.
Are you a Christian, or are you born in a minister's family, like church ministers?
Yes.
Because you are usually raised with this thing of you should be a good girl.
Yes.
You should get married. You should give birth after getting married.
Yes, yes.
So could that have been your case?
Absolutely. We grew up. My mom grounded us and rooted us into, you know, Christianity, church. So we are people, even in school, like I'm one of the people who would look
Scripture
for
Union
scripture
girls.
union, you know, like, so that was my lifestyle growing up. And when this happened to me, it was like all the programming that I had was trying to tell me you have done something so horrible. And I'm not saying that what I did was not horrible,
Yeah.
you know, but at the same time, it kept me into it stagnated me into something that I did not really want to be in.
You could
to
not
be a
forgive
part of.
yourself.
I could not forgive myself in that moment.
So the pregnancy is here.
Yes.
How do you even present that to your parents?
It was actually hard. It was really hard because I first like ran away without even telling my parents I'd run away. Like I stopped going home because I used to go home every weekend. I stopped going home for like around 3 months, you know, like you're trying to hide the pregnancy and things of that kind. Then later on, and I was with this man, but then we're having like internship. So you do your intern, then you come back to this person. But again, even in that, like I was constantly crying. Like there were just things that were happening that were not okay. But then I think one time he had like one last straw with me, and I was like, you know what? I'm not an orphan.
Yes.
You understand? Then I called my mom and I told her, and then she just said, come back home.
You told her you were pregnant?
Yes, I told her, Mommy, I'm pregnant. Actually, what the thing that scared me the most is when we went for a scan, and then they were saying we are having twins.
You went alone or with your man?
I went with a man, and then they're like, we are having twins. So it frightened me.
Yeah.
And he didn't take, you know, like I felt my fear was not validated. Like I'm saying, we need to, you know, tell people and everything. And he was like, oh, I can handle it. But again, I was seeing, because even the financial status that he was in at that time, I was like, no, he cannot handle us. Right now, I was no longer seeing one baby, I was seeing 2 babies.
Yes.
And so it's when I was like, I have to stop hiding, and I need to tell my mom immediately.
So you go home?
So I go home. I pack my bags that night and grab a border, and then I go back home. And yeah, so that day I think I found my dad, but then it's only my mom knew, but my dad could not notice because I was putting on baggy clothes. So it's like as if I was fat.
How old was
So
that
he
pregnancy?
It was like 7 months.
Girl.
Yeah, it was like 7 months. Then it was big. Then so I went back home, and and then life started to begin as a pregnant girl at campus.
Your parents just accepted you in just like that, no rebukes, nothing.
Obviously my mom, the first thing that my mom told me when I reached home, I know when I called her, because I called her crying, she was like, do not cry, you're putting a curse on your children, on your children, so do not cry. So when I went home, I think the punishment was the shame alone and the guilt, because at some point I even wanted them to shout at me.
Oh dear.
Or something, so that I feel
Punish
like
you.
feel like you did wrong, but they were so gracious enough. They accepted me. My mom accepted me. She said absolutely nothing. She don't even tell my family to say, oh my goodness, can you believe what Jackie did? No. She only told my aunt, who's like her confidant, because she's like her
best
BFF.
friend.
Yeah, she's like her best friend in the family. She's, I think, her only sister. And yeah, so I began life like that, and they didn't punish me for it. They opened their arms for me, and yeah, here we are today.
So you gave your birth from you gave birth from home?
Yes, I gave birth from home.
And how do you get into this marriage?
After the birth, I stayed with my, because I wanted to still at school, and I studied. I was like, let me first finish for that year. But again, we had already planned that date for our marriage.
You
The
and
next
him.
year, yeah, me and him, yes, for the next year. And so when I finished, I believed. So like when I finished, then we went and got married. But later on, in that year that I was pregnant, I had so many retakes because I was hardly concentrating, like I was so stressed because the relationship itself was stressful. And then I had added on a child, and I was just envisioning how really my life was going to be already, how my life was going to be. It's like I knew whatever that happened to me in my marriage, as though it was not a surprise, you understand? Because the relationship alone spoke for itself.
When you say whatever happens to your marriage, so you went in for the kuchala,
Yes.
you did the introduction,
Yes.
you did the wedding,
Yes.
you knew the kind of person you're getting married to.
Yes.
Then you became a Mrs.
Yes. And like even for all the ceremonies, they're blurs to me. Like I have to see pictures for me to remember because I was not there.
You're kidding.
I was not there. I was just surviving the moment. I wanted the moment to pass.
You're punishing
then
yourself.
punishing myself. I wanted the moment to pass, and then like I don't know, in my head somehow, somewhere, I thought that life would come back to normal because the situation and from the time that I met this person, my life turned upside down for the worst. From meeting them, and I remember when he was married, I used to tell him like, I don't know, from the time that I met you, my life has never been the same. It has feel like as if it has just been going downhill.
So you plan all these events, you are not happy, and nobody can see that.
Yeah, nobody can see it because I was a very good actor in wanting to be happy. And I think that is even one thing that I'm dealing with right now. I nowadays show people that I am miserable right now. So I maybe don't talk to people. But those days, because of my people pleasing thing, for example, if I'm sad when I'm with people, I'm the one who's the most happiest.
Yeah.
I'm smiling, I'm jumping on everyone. So I was very good at masking my pain and my reality. And it is something that I am learning not to do. Something that I want to reverse is to learn to actually show someone that I am not fine. Please, I am not fine. But those days it was very easy for me. I could literally be dying and breathe the biggest chunk of oxygen. That was me those days.
How is this marriage? How was he? Because you said of a narcissist. Who is a narcissist anyway?
A narcissist is an individual that has a big sense of self-importance. Is a person that has a grandiosis of who they are. They exaggerate their importance in people's lives. That's what a narcissist is. But the things that they do to people's lives, they affect people for years, and some people may not even recover. It's only a miracle that some do.
How is this marriage? How, like being married to a narcissist, how is it like?
First and foremost, there is a lot of instability when it comes to actions. You can never know when someone is going to storm out or when someone is going to be crashing out. You can just never know. Being with them it's like a life of moving on eggshells because you do not know which word is going to trigger them. You do not know which act is going to trigger them. Being with the narcissist is a space whereby you're constantly being manipulated. You're manipulated financially, you're manipulated emotionally, you're manipulated psychologically. Being a narcissist, for some, it involves a lot of abuse. For some people, it may not be physical, but it could be emotional, it could be psychological. For some women, financial, or men, it's like this topic is a topic I think that needs to be talked about more often for awareness. Yes.
So you being married to this person, what was your experience?
When I was married to this person, first and foremost is there was shots of love bombing, whereby someone shows you too much affection, and then they take it away, like just like that.
How?
So, for example, someone in the morning, they can probably make for you breakfast in bed, and you know they're singing for you, they're happy with you, and then in the evening you do something so tiny, and then they fall in your neck.
Something
And
like
they,
what?
it could be like, now one example I think I can say is being on Facebook. I think that is one thing that I cannot forget, because up to now I do not understand how me being on social media could equate to you strangling my neck, you falling in my neck and wanting to kill me. You know, I don't know if that was the intention, but you cutting off supply from someone's, you know, neck is it was not worth it for Facebook, I think. So that's an example. But then sometimes you could just be having a conversations, and maybe you say a word that you don't even know, because sometimes you don't even know what you've done.
Yeah.
All you know is that you're being punished for maybe talking about maybe a friend. Maybe you're talking about, oh my goodness, I had a conversation with my friend so and so. Like, who told you to talk to such and such a friend? Why do you have you have a input to it? You have a big head, you know, and things of that kind. And to me, it was very, very traumatic being in those experiences.
Did he cut you off from all your friends?
He did that. Even at campus, I had my OGs that we studied with, Chitende, Seroma, and for example, he would visit when they are around. He would use the religious thing of, oh, I sense they have a spirit. I sense they have a spirit of adultery.
Okay.
I sense they have a spirit of this. So he used to use that alone. And because my programming was something connected, and when someone talked about something connected to the spiritual, it was it was easy for me to believe you. Like, it was
You
easy
you
for me.
believed a lot in prophets, man of God.
I believed a lot in once it was connected to God and the Bible and spirituality. It was something that I easily believed them as just this naive person.
You could not discern that maybe this is wrong.
I did not even have the tools to discern. Because this was my first boyfriend to begin with.
What?
And so it was my first experience for everything. So I could not say yes at campus, because my plan was, when I was at school, even I used to tell my friends, oh, I want to, finish without boyfriend, then go to campus in like my second year, get a boyfriend, get married. Like, that was my vision anyway. But God has other plans anyway.
Other plans of getting a narcissist?
Sometimes at first I used to, when I just left when I was in through the relationship, to be honest with you, I used to hate it. And when I left, I cried a lot. I was like, how could this happen? God, how would you do this? But with the passions that God has put upon my life, it's because of that experience. And with the calling that I have right now, I'm like, if only I did not go through that, I would not have the empathy for me to understand what someone else goes through. Because you hear people, for example, I could be maybe talking to you, and then someone would be telling, but why didn't you leave? Now, this person would not understand it. I would understand it. In case someone tells me, I would be like, there are so many reasons. Manipulation. If you've not gone through a narcissistic relationship, it's hard for you to understand what a victim of narcissistic abuse goes through. It's really hard. It's like someone telling someone who has lost their mom, I understand how you feel. No, you don't.
But, Jackie.
Yes, please.
When you said that, a narcissist, can't you ever say no to this person?
When it comes to a narcissist, saying no is like you butchered them. They can go into a frenzy. They can fight tooth and nail to make sure that you say yes. They can maybe keep quiet and not talk to you again because you have said no to them. They can tell other people to convince you to say yes to what they are asking for. They can, some I've heard of some stories, there's even threat. They can threaten you so that you can say yes to them. To them, narcissists do not have the word no. When they want something, they want something. And if there is someone out there and you cannot, you feel afraid or scared to say no to your significant other, there's a problem. Now that should be a red flag. That should be a red flag.
But, okay. But you said you're a people pleaser.
Yes.
Could it be that it's one of the reasons why you feel a victim for a very long time?
Yes, absolutely. Like, even on my healing journey, that is one thing that I had to accept. You know, being a people pleaser is not being a good person. It's actually not a very good trait for any Christian to have, to be a people pleaser. Because you get to realize that most stories of narcissistic relationships, always narcissists look for people that easily accept their bargain. They keep on pushing your boundary, mpola, so that they can reach a certain point whereby they reach your limit. Because also me, at a certain point, I started to reach my limit. But for me, I don't know. I don't know even what my limit could have been. But for me, how I got to know and understand my limit was as just scrolling. Because during COVID, I was scrolling on my phone, just casually scrolling, and then I got on this video that Dr. Ramani was talking about certain examples of narcissistic relationships. I don't even remember the specifics. All I remember is that she was describing my life to the dot. She was describing it letter per letter, word per word, plus all the apostrophes and everything. And seeing that video, after seeing it, I first switched off my phone and I cried because it was like I was delivered for the first time. Because I was getting to know information, I was like, what? I knew this was not normal. I knew this was not normal. Thank God that someone has told me that this is not normal. And it was from that time that I started to know what my limit was. So when, for example, he used to call me, sometimes he would tell me, oh, because he had a ministry, children's ministry, and then he would tell me, you know what, here we are starving, please help me send a message to your dad, we need some money. And this is, I'll be like, when you don't want, that's the problem with people pleasing. It's not that you're stupid, it's not that you're foolish, but it's just that you want to please people. You have this innate thing of wanting to please others. You do not know how to say no. So I used to do that. Now when I got to realize about the narcissist, I started to do more research. I told him, like, I know what you're doing. You're trying to manipulate me. And then one time I was trying to convince me. I was like, why are you trying to convince me? I said, I do not want it. I'm tired. I'm tired of trying to get something for you. I'm tired. And then I think that's when one time I called him, and then I was like, why don't you want to come back home? And then he was like, no, I do not want to come back home, because every time I want to come back home, you say no. No. He was like, every time I want to come back home, I want to kill you and the kids. Wow. And for me, that was, I think that was something that I had to look into. It was beyond more than now beating and everything. I was like, if someone feels
to kill me,
like they want to kill me, something has to be done about it.
Wow. We're going to go for a very short break. Our dear viewers, we're going to go for a very short break. And then when we come back, Jackie is going to tell us how her journey of healing has been. Let's go for a break.
The devil is here on the earth doing stuff. When you call Jesus, Jesus comes into the situation and overrides and says, let that one go. So whatever the enemy is holding, whether you can't give birth, someone bewitched you that you can't give birth, or someone is just tampering with your star, someone is frustrating you in any way, whenever you come to a place where God is, Jesus does what? Overrides. He said, no, 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 no. This one is under me. Don't touch. And the moment you begin to have Christ in you and you become a witness, the Bible says you become a witness of his resurrection. Why? Because resurrection is the thing that defeats Satan.
Welcome to the Sunrise Show. My name is Angel Walker.
Erectile dysfunction is one of the causes of marital breakups. But do you know we have a solution right here?
On the Sunrise, learn how to utilize your small spaces at home.
Don't miss every weekday mornings, the Sunrise, right here on Promise TV.
Welcome back from that short break. Jackie is going to take us through her journey of healing, how it's been like, and how is the new life. Jackie, you're telling us later you notice you're with a narcissist.
Yes.
And now you tell him, I know what you're doing. Then what happened?
It was in 2022. That it was in 2020 that I got to realize I'm in a narcissistic abusive relationship. Then in 2021, I started to work on my self-rediscovery and healing. But what really helped were, like, that's why you see I love social media, though most people talk ill about it. But to me, during that time, I joined Facebook communities and I got to realize what people were going through. I got therapies from people from there because there were some counselors that were on there. So it was easier for me to get some therapy from there. So I was helped a lot by so many Facebook communities that were talking about narcissistic relationships, and others had like people that had gone through it. So people were talking about, so we could see those that had overcome. But one thing that that I got from the biggest thing that I got from those communities and in that time was that for you to heal from a narcissistic relationship is for you to move on with your life and not to be a victim. So I had to get out of my victim mentality and victimhood and then start to see myself as the champion that I was or I am.
Jackie, when did you ever feel the strength to move? Because you said, or the strength to fight back. Because you said there are times when he would strangle you, and yet you had children.
I remember one time we had a disagreement, and I stood on my ground, and then he started to beat me up on my hand, and then my kids were crying to the point that even some neighbors came. They're like, because we have twins. Salongo, why are you fighting? And then I got out because I was in the chair seated, and then I got out and then I started to hit him back because I looked at my child's face, one of my the first twin, and I was like, how is she going to see me? There was that shame. I was so embarrassed that my child saw me being beat like that. So I started to learn to fight, and when I fought that day, I started to feel like I was powerful, as a little bit powerful, because other times where he used to beat me, I used to just defend, put my hands to, defend maybe my face or something. But this time I got out of that seat and punched him right back.
A strong punch?
A strong
or a
punch.
gully punch?
It was, I remember I hit with all my strength. I don't remember if it was gully. All I remember is that my whole strength was involved. Yes.
So, how do you get out of this marriage?
I think to get out, it was by the grace of God. It was not my working at all. I was not even planning to leave. For me, I was ready for the fight this time. After me knowing about the narcissistic information, I was like, oh, so meaning this person is to be fought because I'm not dealing with someone that is normal. But by the grace of God, I have my auntie who had a pressing on her heart, that I was not fine. And then she invited me for tea. She first saw me, I have a job opportunity. And by that time, because I'd sat long for like around 7 years, doing home. Nothing. Yeah, I was home. I was like, yes, finally, I go for her to give me the opportunity. I was like, no, I lied to you. I feel it in my heart that you're not fine. You know, and then it was the very first time that I talked about my situation, and I remember I cried.
Oh dear.
I cried because it was my very first time to release all the emotions that I was feeling, and she was so kind enough to just listen. You know, she just listened, and she was non-judgmental. She didn't ask me, "Here, why didn't you leave?" No, she just listened to me, and I think it's just a blessing for people to just give an open ear for survivors. You know, yes.
But Jackie, how many years were you in that marriage?
7 years.
7 years you were silent.
7 years.
Why were you silent?
A relative, I remember, and you see, sometimes we have to even be careful what we tell people that are in marriage. So I remember a relative of mine told me, when your husband's covering, when you have issues with your husband, you
Don't
tell the
talk.
mom. You don't tell us, because for us, when you tell us, we shall hate the man, and when you go back in your love, for us, we shall still have the old feelings and resentment. So every problem that I used to have with him, I used to tell the mom. Even sometimes when he used to beat me, I used to run to the mom, you know, because there's a certain point when we used to stay close by, and I used to run to the mom, and I used to tell her that he has done this and this and this, and then the mom would just tell him, you go in my room, go and sleep in my room, let your wife go back home, and things of that kind. So it was hard for me to talk about it with my own family, but because of what I was told, and as a good listener, like I told you, as a people pleaser. So what people told me is what I listened to. I was such a good listener.
You're such a good girl.
Yeah, I was such a good girl.
You were such a good girl.
Wow, yes.
When do you pack your things to get out of this house?
For me to pack my things, I remember we had a meeting. So because of me telling my aunt, my aunt told the husband, who is my uncle, yes, then my uncle told my dad, then my dad took action. And we held a meeting because we were like, maybe it's mental health, maybe, because my dad wanted to find level ground. Why is this happening? Why is this going on with my child? You know, what's the problem? Is it me with a problem? Is it him with a problem? And so he called my mom, and also the mom also was there, and the sister of that ex of mine, and then we were we were talking through it. Then everyone started to air out what they had in their hearts, and then for some reason he got angry, and then he walked out of the meeting. And that's how my dad was like, you know what, if this gentleman cannot respect me, then he cannot respect my daughter.
girl.
Then let my daughter get out. She walks out today. And
Just like that.
Yeah, just like that. And I've never looked back.
You packed your things, and
I packed my things.
how was your first night out of that house?
It was freeing, but again painful.
Why?
Because of the things, you know, like it was trauma, like of the things that had happened, and you know, because this was my story, you know, I was like, I cannot believe this is me, like this is not what I had planned, this was not a part of my plan, you know. So it was as in pain because of the things that I've gone through. And you know like how you run and then you stop running, then you start to breathe in, you feel the pain all over your body. So it was like as if I was free, and now it is now time for me to feel everything that I should have felt in all those years.
Did you do all this for love? Was it even worth it?
I don't know, like looking back, because I've been on my healing journey for now 4 years, looking back, it was not love. Because I hate to believe that I hated myself to that extent. It was not love. I think because being with this person, I tried to break up with him even during the relationship at campus. Like in just 2 months, I was already starting to break up with him because I saw it was not taking us anywhere because of his, manipulative and abusive tendencies. And but then there was that thing of I'm going to kill myself, no one has ever loved me. And then also you add on my people pleasing tendencies, my being naive, my being fearful of probably what you could do to my friends, because used to saying something of that kind. So because of all of these other things, like all that manipulation, it kept me into this relationship to the point of me even getting married to this individual.
Oh dear.
Yes.
So you come back home. Now it's time to find yourself.
It's time to find myself. I went into an immensely deep depression. I have never been that depressed in my life. I was constantly crying.
Okay.
As if, like, I felt as free, I was glad, I was happy and sad at the same time. Like I had all these emotions of freedom, happy, finally, you know. But at the same time, the effects of what happened to me could not just go away. And even that, you see, for me, that's why I say I love the internet. So it was this time, it was on Instagram. I was scrolling, and obviously now this time my algorithms about narcissism and getting over bitchy. So I dropped onto this thing of trauma. Of how trauma sometimes, even when your body and your mind is no longer experiencing what you're going through, it's still, your brain still relieves it because it has not been processed and it has not been removed out of your system. So your brain still behaves like it's being abused. Your brain still behaves like it's still in that situation, even when you're not. So even if you can be feeling free, your brain has not yet processed that nervous tension that it used to have while being in that abuse. Yes.
How has been your healing journey? Anything new that you have adopted to? Have you gone for the things that you loved before you got married?
Yeah.
I can see that. Ooh, yeah.
Okay. I've been working on my healing journey for 4 years now, and it has been amazing. I wanted to be an artist. I wanted to do my music from when even I met this human being. And I am glad I have released 2 EPs. I'm going to be releasing
What's
an album.
EP?
An EP, it's a music production that can last for 30 minutes. Then our album can last for 1 hour plus.
Okay.
Yes, so I've released an EP, 5 songs each. I've released 2 singles. I have done amazingly. I've been acting. I'm also an actor. I've acted in some movie called Nkwanzi.
Oh, Nkwanzi.
Yes, Nkwanzi Sleep. And then I've also featured on Hotel Mara. I've also featured on Sanyu
Kwagala.
Sanyu Kwagala. I have done tremendously. I have fulfilled all my passions, and I'm still dreaming. And you see, the beauty of the freedom that I have is that when I was in this narcissistic relationship, there was no room to dream.
Blossom.
Because every dream was shut down. Every dream was minimized. Every dream was consolidated. It was like diffused. It was nothing, you know. But then this time I can dream. I can just go maybe talk to, my mom, and I'm like, I have this grand dream of this. And then she just gives me options of how it can even be bigger, to the point that you get procrastination. You understand?
It shocks
it
you.
It shocks you, and you get. But those days, it was instead being dissolved to nothing.
Yeah.
And for me, my journey on my healing has been so amazing. I have founded Harmony of Minds, a mental health platform where we'll give you information about trauma and how to deal with your trauma, because it's not what happened to you, it's what you have not processed. It's not what my ex did to me, because that is now in the past. But now, how am I living right now? Have I processed the anger? Have I processed the pain? Have I processed the betrayal? Have I processed the bitterness? Have I processed my self-hate? Because in that time when you leave, you get to realize I probably hated myself, or I learned how to hate myself in that moment. Because even when I got married, I got married to this person because I was angry at myself, and therefore I hated myself, and therefore that's why I accepted to get married, even when my mom gave me a chance to think about it. Yes.
Jackie, do you think you forgave this man?
I forgave him. The reason as to why the reason as to why I have managed to move on is because I have forgiven him. And I forgive it's not that I've forgiven the whole of it, but everything that I remember, I face it and I'm like, oh, he did this and this and this. And then probably I cry about it, probably journal about it, probably do something about it. And then I forgive that part. So it's not that I'm forgiving the person, I'm forgiving the parts that I remember about the person. And so some parts come to you. So forgiveness takes time. It's not like a snap, I've forgiven you. It's something that takes time. And I got to realize that if you do not forgive, then you do not fully move on, meaning this person still has power over you. And so I had to first and foremost forgive this person for lying to me, you know, because most cases narcissists, they give you so many stories, grandiose stories, so many big promises of I'm going to do this, and then on realizing they were not even intending to do whatever they were planning. They were just telling you what they think you need to hear.
But how about you? Have you forgiven yourself?
I think on my healing journey, that was the first thing I had to deal with. I had to look in the mirror one time and I was like, Jackie, I forgive you.
Oh dear.
I forgive you for being stupid.
Oh dear.
That was the first thing I had to forgive. I forgive you for being dumb. Forgiving you too for being, like, I gave myself, you know, like how you abuse yourself and then you forgive yourself for those abuses. So that is what I did. I first forgave myself for being naive, for being stupid, for being malleable, for being gullible. And because of that, it has helped me even move on, even deal with my people pleasing. And I'm like, I can do better. Yes.
Right now, what would you tell your young self at campus if you had an opportunity to go back?
If I'm to go back, but I've not yet thought about it. But now that I think about it, I think I can tell her she's a survivor. I can tell her she can do anything that she puts her mind to. I can tell her her experience is not her story. Her experience is just an experience. It's like eating food, getting satisfied, sleeping, going to the toilet, and eating food the next day. So it's just an experience. So that is something that I'll maybe want to tell that girl, is it's just an experience and you can move past that.
The Jackie.
Yeah, this Jackie now, it's what she can tell that Jackie, because the reason as to why I want to tell myself that is because, you know, when someone tells, oh, in my 20s, for me in my 20s, I think about abuse, you understand? And then someone is thinking about maybe going to friends, doing all the fun things. Me, I'm thinking about the abuse that I've been through, and I want to tell myself at campus and someone in my 20s that you it was just an experience, and you can do much better, and you can fulfill and go past what you've even ever thought about. Just keep dreaming.
Right now, do you think your girls are proud of you?
They are. They tell me that all the time. Yeah, because they tell me that all the time. They're like, oh, mommy, they're proud kids. I see them being proud of me every other day.
Oh dear.
Yes.
That's beautiful. For someone out there,
yes,
a lady, a married woman, probably who is even into ministry and is going through such a relationship,
yes,
what would you tell them?
First and foremost, I would tell them that God respects women. That is the one thing that we have to understand. So, like how you see in Deuteronomy, if you're to read the Old Testament about divorce, and I know some people will say the New Testament, God hates divorce, and then when you divorce, you do not get married again, or God hates divorce. And the truth is that God hates divorce. People think God hates divorce because the woman leaves. God hates divorce because of the reasons why the woman leaves. You understand? No woman wants to be where they are beaten. No woman wants to be where they are, where they are treated less than human.
Yeah.
You know, the moment any person, any human being is treated, even an animal can run away from you if you treat it less than
Yes,
a living
it
thing,
does,
you
yeah.
know. So God used to tell the children of Israel, if you feel you're tired of your wife, do not make her a slave. And for you making your wife a slave, that means torturing her, treating her less than. You just give her a letter so that she can go and then find someone who will value her. So to the Christian women there who are struggling, is that God cares about you more than even you believe. God cares about you more than your pastor tells you. I'm telling you. Like, you need to go within, like, forget all this outside noise and go within and ask, what are you telling me, God? Because I think it is very, very important and very crucial for us as women to know our value and our relationship with God himself. Because even when you look at the relationship between Jesus and us, like and women, it's a very different relationship to how you see Jesus and the fellow men.
Yes.
Because with the fellow men, he was writing down stones when they wanted to stone a woman. With the fellow men, he's telling them to, you know, you go and, you know, do something. But with women, he was bringing them in, you know, and and I would love to just tell, you know, women, especially Christian women, is that let's be vigilant.
Yeah.
Let's be vigilant, and let us have knowledge, because many of us are so naive. These narcissistic
Prophet.
men, they look for women that don't know better. They look for women that are gullible. That is you're malleable. You're easily convinced. You're easily manipulated.
Twisted,
You're easily twisted. You're like, I don't know, like a wire. You understand?
You don't
Let
say
us
no.
learn. Let us learn to say no. It's your right. I'm not being a feminist. I'm not trying to be a feminist, but I'm trying to be real here, because times are tough nowadays. Like,
Yes.
time is not like how it used to be before. Nowadays, we need to hold people accountable to how they treat us. We need to have boundaries. Yes.
Wow, that's really, really nice. But maybe one question. Every girl has a dream of a wedding, marriage. My question would be to you, Jackie. Are you ready for love?
Always ready for love. Always ready for love.
Are you ready to start again?
Yes, the reason as to why I even had to work on my healing journey, because I got to realize if I was to say, let me go back, because I was realizing even when I left, the same men that I was attracting, they still had those narcissistic tendencies. You know, there were the people that, like, they still had,
They're
there
so
was
insecure.
that insecure. And I was like, you know what, let me first go back and first deal with me, like, on a spiritual level, on an emotional level, on a physical level, look down within myself. And I'm like, why do I, you know, feel like these are the people that I feel drawn to, or they feel drawn to me? And now that there's like that dry spell of such people, and I'm just ready.
I can see the glow. You're ready for love.
Yes.
That's beautiful. Don't you ever feel like, aren't you scared that because the other marriage failed, probably if I'm to get into another one, I can fail? I'll talk about my healing journey. Being on my healing journey, it has told me one thing, is that we have to live life. Yeah.
And not live in fear. Because fear will cripple us on something that we've not even experienced.
Sure.
You understand? So if I'm to say I am afraid to love again because of my personal experience, then I am telling myself I'm not worthy to be loved.
Sure.
And I'm not worthy to love. And I believe I'm worthy to love and I'm worthy to be loved.
Actually, you are worthy to be treated like a prince, a queen now.
Yeah.
A queen.
Yes.
You know, this has been so beautiful and very, very, very insightful, because very many women out there are going through this and they totally have no idea.
Yes.
And I love the fact that you appreciate your healing journey.
Yes.
Because sometimes people don't even realize their problem.
Yes, that's true.
And they get into marriage and they end up bleeding on other people.
Yes.
But maybe one question. Do you think only men are narcissists? Don't you think that it also happens to women?
It happens to both women and men. When you hear of men talking about their narcissistic situation, your jaw can drop. You're like, wow, you know. So it happens both sides. It's just that when it comes to women, it's sort of like institutionalized or something. It's as if it's acceptable. For example, when a man says, "Oh, mukazi yangu, how can he beat you? Woman tasola koyo muleke." But when a woman says, "My husband beat you, he did something."
Yeah.
You understand? So the difference is how society takes it, but still all genders go through narcissistic abuse. And also men also, they have their own issues, like how can I say my woman beats me? You know, they also go through like their own societal challenges. Yeah, but it's just that for them they have this leverage of they can go whenever, but when a woman leaves, probably they will say she has given up, she's
problem.
She's the problem or something of that kind.
Jackie, thank you very much.
You're
I have
welcome.
really learned a lot from this, and I'm very sure that our viewers there have learned who that person is. But that word is quite hard.
Yes.
You wonder whether you're pronouncing it the right way.
Yes.
But we're going to say bye to our dear viewers.
Yes.
Dear viewers, we have come to the end of our episode with Jackie. And if you're that person who has been in such a relationship, we really pray you find help. It's okay to find help. You deserve better. See you in our next episode.